TikTok creator Chibi K released a gospel song using artificial intelligence, and it's been causing a massive conversation online. And it had me thinking about what the future of Christianity looks like with the emergence of artificial intelligence being able to act as a stand in for the Holy Spirit. In the conversation about AI and secular music, I think when it comes to consumers, the ends justify the means. If it's a good song, then it's a good song. Within the creators, it's about fairness, and within the industry, it's about profit and who gets to own it. When we talk about Christian music, whether if it's CCM, gospel, or worship, the process is the product. When you're going to listen to Christian music, you expect the process to be inundated with prayer and conviction and intimacy and guidance.
Now, I hate to bust anybody's bubble on this, but I've been a part of quite a few gospel productions. Sometimes there's not a lot of prayer going on. Sometimes now I don't indulge in these things, but I've talked to producers that indulge in these things, and there's some substances and there's some things that go on in some of these sessions of some of your favorite songs and even if they had some prayer and had some intimacy, so to speak, and there's some people that's having some intimacy. It's not the intimacy that you think the intimacy that you're thinking, like that. But there's some intimacy going on, like after, before, and during the session. You know what I'm saying? Like I haven't been again. I haven't been in those type sessions. I'm definitely not like in Diddy's internet doing any of that kind of stuff. But I'm just saying, like I know people and have heard the stories and have been a part of connections with people that are into that kind of stuff, and they are produced, recorded, been on all of the stages, on all of the tours of some of your favorite worship songs, um, and wasn't no prayer involved in it. I hate to bust your bubble if that's how you look at it, but I mean now, and then for that page, it's not everything. There are some people that do that really love the Lord, and that's their vibe, and they do that. But yeah, like that's not like, while that's the consumer expectation, that's not always the reality, but it's not the standard either.
Guidance from the Holy Spirit. AI can't mimic that. I'm still debating on it because, in trying to be fair, I'm thinking of all the products that I use that weren't necessarily made in the most holiest ways. For example, this phone that I'm on that was minerally sourced in ways that are heinous. Yet I still use this phone to watch sermons, search things up, and to be a part of my process of sitting in intimacy with God. But even though I know that, it still doesn't feel the same. People are also using it.
Yeah, so and I mean, that's a fair, nuanced perspective. Again, you have the coin in the middle is a tool. To some people, they use it as a weapon. To some people, it's a legitimate tool that helps them do what they need to do. And then you have this other aspect of the argument where people say, hey, like, you know, keep that same energy for all of the things that you do. And a lot of times what messes things up for people is the knowledge of it. When you don't know about where something is sourced from, or how it was made, or who made it, or what the lifestyle of the person is that made it, or what the motive of the person was that made it, or was, especially when we're in a Christian worldview, system where you think that prayer and intimacy was involved in the creation of your favorite worship song. And it's true, the truth of the matter is they recorded that song, and then they went out to a bar afterwards and got drunk after recording that song. I've heard those stories legitimately, of people that I know, like they was at the bar with them. So like, but if you know that when you hear the song, you hear it in its purity, and you crystallize it, and you love the message, and you love whatever it is. But then as soon as you know the history behind it, or how it was made, or the whatever, the lifestyle, or whatever, the person that was made it, it instantly messes it up for you. You know what I mean? Like you can use the phone as something that's like, oh, this is just my device that I use to communicate with people, to browse social media, to listen to music, to, you know, read my Bible because I have the Bible app or I have whatever the case may be. But at you know, at Days Inn, it was when it was made, it wasn't made, it was made by slave labor or something crazy like that. You know what I mean? I don't know, like, I don't know anything about what she was talking about, but I'm just saying in the sense, like, if you figure out where the source is, it instantly messes with you or what have you. So I can understand why she would say that or what have you. But I think my final take and my final takeaway from this is this. Here's where I think this is I don't this doesn't really strike me as something that's going to really like mess up the gospel industry in this sense though. Hear me out on this. Um the proof is always in the pudding, and the pudding when it comes to gospel music is performance. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like one thing a little that's a little bit different, you know, especially with the, you know, the gospel genre or the worship genre or what have you, is it is like centered around performance. While these artists, AI artists, whatever you want to call them, whatever you want to deem them as, are making waves and they're hitting the charts and Billboard and all of those things like that. While that's a situation, the truth of the matter is, if they become really popular, like a Tasha Cobbs popular, like a Todd Delaney popular, like a Maverick City popular, you know, people are gonna want to come to a concert. People are gonna want to book them to come to their church. You know what I'm saying? And that's not going to be possible. And that's where, in my opinion, it will ultimately fail, because streaming money, publishing money, all of those little things, they have, you know, they have caps on it, where a lot of artists are making their money, like the bigger artists, uh, you know, even in gospel and even in secular, all of those, how they're making their money is they're making their money on shorts. Go look up how much Beyonce made on the latest tour. I think it's in the billions. Taylor Swift, artists, like people are still going to concerts. Like I just paid like $600 for me and my daughter to go to a concert in August, and it was almost sold out. So people are still going to shows. People still want to go to concerts, to performances, to tours, all of those things like that. And I think that's ultimately where this argument, like the door closes on this argument. You know, it is definitely a lot of concern around the ethics when it comes to this conversation. But where this ultimately fails is in the where I say the line is drawn is at performance. Now, once they get robots or something, you know, we may have to come back and revisit this conversation. And when they get robots, humanoid robots, and I say like androids that have full skin and can sing and move and dance and do all of that, we might have, in Houston, we might have a problem at that point. But for the foreseeable future, the foreseeable, what we can actually see, I think that's where I personally, where the argument falls apart from me. It's like, yeah, it's crazy. Yeah, it's terrible. It's theft. There should be some negotiate, as well as they're negotiating with the record companies and stuff. They should be actually negotiating with these artists to get them fair and competitive pay. And I think as human beings, we are smart enough and loud enough and pushy enough to where there's going to be some legislation that's going to have to happen sometime soon, that's going to protect artists' rights, that's going to allow them to be fairly compensated for the AI usage. There was just a big landmark case that happened, I think last year, that was for songwriters and royalties and things like that. You know, so there's always like lobby. So if you're really concerned about it, get in there, lobby for it. You know what I'm saying? Like push to your legislation, help, you know, your local legislators. Let's make some noise and do some things to try to make our concerns known, so that the ethics of this doesn't become a question, you know, anymore. That's my take. That's what I got to say about it. You all want to thank you for making it to the end of this video. First of all, thank you for watching to the end. If you made it to the end, make sure you hit the like button, hit the share button, drop a comment, and let me know what you think about everything that I've talked about. And make sure you check out the Patreon link down below. Hop over there for some exclusive content. All right, I'll talk to you guys on the next one. I'm out. Holla at your boy.